Hello, everybody, and welcome. Uh, so, for anybody that is not in the Discord server, the other day on stream I had announced, okay, this week, not 100% sure what I will be doing this Sunday, and it will be based upon the housing results because I put a large bid up on a plot on my main character. And if you're not in the Discord server, you don't know those results. Well, you could draw assumptions based upon which character I'm logged in as right now. But my drawing number was number 38 out of like 80 or something so bids, and the winning number was 37. So we're here with Boba because we have some kneecaps that we need to be taking. But after I logged on to my character here, Boba, so for those of you that are new here, what I like to do with Boba especially is I like to talk about some things that Sprouts may not know coming into Final Fantasy XIV. The reason I use Boba for this is because she is a fresh alt going through MSQ, and the whole purpose of me even having Boba is to have a day that is really more or less dedicated to our Sprouts and our new gamers in the game. And I sat down waiting for like as I was loading everything else, I was like, I'm just gonna have Boba sit here, and I was like, she's sitting kind of boring, so I changed what her sitting position was, and I was like, well, Sprouts might not know exactly what that process is for changing that idle animation for when you're sitting or even when you're standing. Like right now, Boba is just standing, kind of boring. Okay, now she's changing positions. If you're not 100% sure how to do this, it's actually an emote. And the emote is called Change Pose. And right up here under the special category for Boba here, it's the very first one. It's one of those ones that comes by default. Now, Boba is automatically changing positions every so often. The reason this is in her character configurations. So just to enlarge this, on control settings on the character tab, I have randomized idle standing animation toggled on, and it toggles every so often. So like right now she's standing kind of normally, and she's going to give a few moments here and she will change positions automatically, and she just does that every so often. But if you want them to hold the same position constantly, you don't have to have the randomized idle position on. You could just use change pose or /C pose if you're typing it into chat. I don't know anybody that would type out the entire change pose. I would just use C pose. But that will change your idle animation, so that way you're not just standing there like a regular NPC and being boring. Because let's be honest, even some of the NPCs have some interesting idle animations. So I was like, well, that could be something that is a little fun to share for our Sprouts that do not know about some of these settings, just in case you want to look a little bit more interesting. Just a forewarning for anybody that is also not in the Discord server before I really get going into everything. So just a reminder that I am on a Linux computer. I run Nobara on my system, and StreamerBot had an update earlier today. I went to update it without knowing that it is not functioning on the Nobara system. It was actually around the same time that somebody else had posted in the Discord server that it was constantly crashing for them. And I ended up having to roll it back to a previous update, or the previous version, and I posted there saying, hey, I had the same issue. I rolled it back for now. But just in case things do not work properly, I wanted to let you all know that I did that. It should be working properly because it is right now I am running 1.0.4, which is the version that I have been running pretty much the entire time that I have been streaming. But in case there are any issues, I was having issues because I made the mistake of trying to update it earlier. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for the gifted subs. Enjoy your mount. The mount is absolutely beautiful. I would show you what the mount looks like, but I am on my alt character, and the mount, it is 1 per character, and you could only get the mount once per Twitch account. So if you want it for multiple accounts, you have to have, well, or for multiple characters, you have to have multiple Twitch accounts, which I don't have. So I do not have the beautiful mount on this particular character, but that rainbow unicorn is absolutely beautiful. It is so pretty. I absolutely love that mount. It is a fantastic reskin of the oh my gosh. My brain did not want to come up with the word conjure there for a moment. But it's a beautiful reskin of the conjurer mount, but in my opinion, it is even more beautiful than the conjurer mount. And it's up there with the, oh my gosh, I can't think of words today. Up there with the Wondrous Tales mount. The Wondrous Tales mount is has a beautiful bright green glow. The reason I say that it's up there is because I think the green glow is much more bright and vibrant than the rainbow, but the rainbow is absolutely stunning. So thank you, thank you, thank you for those gifted subs, and enjoy your mount. So with that, I want to continue on with some MSQ with Boba. I might not be doing that the entire time today because Boba needs to be taking out some kneecaps, y'all. She needs those kneecaps. To help with taking out those kneecaps, next expansion, she's totally good taking on Bastion because, I mean, I feel like the meme kind of writes itself there. I mean, double shields could be made out of people's kneecaps, you know. So I feel like that's going to end up being a necessity. So, right now, she is a white mage. I am going to be leveling up some ninja with her at some point, but I also really want to work on her marauder, so that way she could officially unlock ninja and warrior, because what better classes for taking kneecaps, right? Right now, she's doing it with a stick, which, you know, can be somewhat fitting, just because, you know, removing kneecaps with a stick can be painful. Just to recap for where we are in MSQ. We just got Sid's airship back, and the thing is now we are trying to figure out how to properly get the crystals to get us through Garuda's barrier without doing a whole bunch of damage to his airship. Because right now, her barrier is going to do way too much damage to an airship to properly get us through. So we got the airship. Now we just need to get the crystals. And it's another thing about A Realm Reborn. Sometimes the markers don't quite give you a great idea as to where those quests are at. So now we got to talk to this guy, so that way we could get an idea of where to get these crystals. Yes. Or, well, yes, I am Professor... See, my brain doesn't even want to, like, think of words properly today. But I am Professor Lambriant. Beg pardon? You wish to hear about my research on corrupted crystals? Truly. Well, nothing would give me greater pleasure to discuss my work with a fellow woman of science. See, he recognizes. He recognizes. He is not calling me some dumb bitch like Ursula did. So, this guy already gets an A+ in my book. The only one that's exceeded A+ is Harsh Font, but this guy also recognizes better than Alphino, because Alphino is just like, this wouldn't make sense to you. Frickin' prick. Fucking Alphino. Okay. So rare it is to find fellow intellectuals in this region. 'Tis even rarer to find one capable of comprehending the nature of corrupted crystals. Come to think of it, there was another, a hermit to whom the church had given sanctuary. Ah. So he recognizes that, or, well, he really recognizes that he talked to Sid, which at the time, he didn't know who he was, and he was going by the name of Marcus. Because he didn't know his name was Sid, he really didn't know anything about himself. And he wanted to learn as much as he possibly could. And that's why we got pointed in this guy's direction. This guy knows all this stuff about corrupted crystals, and Sid was like, hey, I remember this guy talked to me so much about corrupted crystals, so talk to him, see what information we can get for properly equipping my airship, so that way we can get through this barrier. Curious fellow. Unsociable. Rather daft at first perception, yet possessed of an amazing affinity towards scientific pursuits. But to the matter at hand, did you say you wish not to conduct field observations, but to harvest corrupted crystal? Gods, woman! At least take the necessary precautions so you do not suffer from exposure to its harmful energies. I'm beginning to wonder if you've sufficient qualifications to handle such hazardous materials. I feel like that's fair. It's totally fair. Still, your ignorance is somehow endearing. Luckily for you, I have precisely the means by which these inherent dangers may be averted. Simply store the crystal you seek within this warded pot to protect yourself from its My brain apparently is going to be having one of those days. I was feeling so good the last several times I've streamed with Boba, getting through the MSQ and not stumbling on my words quite so much, but apparently it's going to be one of those days. Let me start this whole sentence over. Simply store the crystal you seek within this warded pot to protect yourself from its deleterious effects, though I suppose you will be bombarded with its energies until you place it within the vessel. Well, perhaps it shall motivate you to work quickly. In any case, take the pot to Hashasoko, a student of mine monitoring the flow of Aether at Highbridge. Explain to him your quest, and he shall instruct you on the finer points of crystal harvesting. I'm going to assume, I don't remember this character, Hahasako. I am just going to assume, based upon their name, having it AABC, with the syllables there, I am going to assume a Lalafell, but I could totally be wrong here. But I feel like the repeated back-to-back syllables like that, haha, is a very Lalafell kind of name. But as I said, I could totally be wrong on that one, just because I feel like typically, hey Gular, how's it going? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. But I feel like Lalafells are typically AAB or ABB with their rhyming rhymes. I guess like Hihibaru was a AABC with the syllables, so I could totally be spot on with my assumption. Let's see, we got okay, he's down there. He's down there. So, if you get frustrated in moments like this as a Sprout, things like this will totally happen quite a bit in a Realm Reborn zones. So, like, notice that, like, logically speaking, it would make sense to be able to jump from up here down to there, right? But right now, there's this weird walled barrier that is not allowing me to jump properly down there. So the reason that is because originally when the Realm Reborn zones were constructed, they were not these maps were not created 3-dimensional. They were created 2-dimensional, which is why originally you could not fly in the Realm Reborn zones. You could only use grounded mounts. Which is another reason why the mount speed thing that every once in a while they give you as you progress was so important for those Realm Reborn zones, because flying never ended up being an option. And a few years ago they rebuilt everything to be 3D, but obviously there are some imperfections like that still happen. So it's like there's that invisible wall there that we cannot get through because of how it is constructed. Because they wanted to maintain the overall look and feel of the original zones and everything, but make it 3D so we could fly instead of not being able to fly. So sometimes like that you'll see on your ground mount, you can't just drop as easily in some spots. However, in like Heavensward onwards, those were made 3-dimensional, and we were always intended to eventually be able to fly in those zones. So you won't see quite as many of those moments as often in the expansions. All right, how many times must I be made to explain myself? I am not contemplating suicide, you imbecile. I immediately wanted to jump to imbecile. I've chosen this precise position to perform scientific measurements. That was very dark. It's very dark. Let me give him this warded pot here, so that he realizes that I recognize that he's not trying to unalive himself. That I'm here for science. In the name of science, I am here. What have we here? A containment vessel. Why, this is the handiwork of Professor Labyrinth. You thieving knave! I shall call for the... Oh, you say the man himself lent it to you. Then he must have sought me out per his instruction, which means he believes me experienced enough to expound upon his explanations. At last, the recognition I so rightfully deserve. Well, this Fae has some fun music. I'm just gonna grab the gill. Oh, from joyous day, Calais, that I should be chosen to guide this woman. Yes, I, Hachasako, greatest Professor Labyrinth's pupil, or greatest of Professor Labyrinth's pupils, shall see that you successfully query your query. I like this guy. I like him. He's like just so happy to help. It's just so welcome to have NPCs happy to help me now. Instead of all of these Ellison, they're like, no, fuck you. We don't like you because you had the audacity just to be short and say hi to us. Your timing is impeccable. In fact, for I was just preparing to procure corrupted crystals from the burning wall for my personal research. Oh, for anybody that could see the Fate progress bar and you're wondering, oh my gosh, this is a Fate that is actually like progressing. Like right now it says Blast Blades remaining. Oh, it says 7 out of 9. Maybe it's not progressing. But anyway, if you notice that Fates are progressing, one of the reasons may be is that people are participating in one of the... Oh, it is actually progressing. It's just saying 6 out of 9 Blast Blades are remaining, but we're almost... Or the Fate's almost done. But the reason people are doing so many A Realm Reborn Fates right now is because with the current Yokai Watch events, obtaining those minions is tied to completing fates in specific zones to unlock those. So good motivation to go back and do those, even if you are a longtime player. Maybe for some reason you didn't complete the Yokai Watch of it in the past. Exhibit A, me. I didn't complete it in the past. I made it quite a bit of the ways through, but I did not get all of the minions, nor did I get all of the weapons and everything. If you are a player that is in Post or Realm Reborn or further, you could also utilize that to work on Zodiac weapons, which is the Realm Reborn relic. And hey, Plock, how's it going? Happy Sunday. But you could kind of do a 2-for-1 deal with these Realm Reborn fates, because there is a step with those Zodiac weapons that requires that you do fates to get certain drops in those Realm Reborn zones, which can be kind of painful. So if you double up and work on those minions at the same time as you're working on that step with the Zodiac weapons, you know, it makes it much more motivational to do. So I highly recommend doing that if you are to post a Realm Reborn or further in the MSQ. Obviously, Boba is not to that point. She is still in regular Realm Reborn, so she cannot even start her Zodiac weapon yet. Now, if you are just working on MSQ and have absolutely no desire to work on either one of those right now, by all means, you can skip them. The Yokai Watch event does come back every so often. Not super often. Like, I think I've maybe seen it twice in my 6 or so years of playing. But the Zodiac weapons will be there. They will still be there. You could come back to them. Like, by all means, don't feel like you have to do this right now. Just because by the end of an expansion, technically, relic weapons tend to... Oh, now it's a boss fate. So the reason we had interesting music is because this was a series of fates that progressed. But just because at the end of an expansion a relic ends up being best in slot, quote, quote, does not mean that you have to have it before you move on to the next expansion. Trust me, more than likely, next expansion, I'm going to be entering it without the relics. Yes, relic grinding, especially when it's current, can be pretty brutal. Last expansion was definitely an exception because it was just a tome dump. So last expansion was not super, like, it was painful because it just didn't really add a whole lot. I haven't done any this expansion, just because I haven't had the time to really dedicate to doing that and properly making sure I've been geared up or anything like that. So I've not been stressing myself out about it. It's something that I just remind myself, hey, they will always be there some other time for me to come back to when I have some more time. Relics do have beautiful glows to them a lot of the time. I say a lot of the time because, honestly, there are some ugly-ass relics. For instance, like the Shadowbringers relics, those ones, some of them be pretty dang ugly, in my opinion. Some people say all of them are pretty dang ugly. Some people like all of them. But they look like they have rock candy glued to them. So, like they're just not very pretty. But they tend to be the weapons that have quite a bit of glowing effect and all that stuff. But they're not the only weapons in game with glowing effects. You could also get weapons with glowing effects from Extreme Trials, for instance. Not all Extreme Trials, but at least some of the Extreme Trials, you can craft some glowing weapons from them that look pretty good too. Some of my favorites that are underlooked for glowing weapons are like the Shiva and Leviathan weapons, because those ones you just have an item drop and you go into Limsa Lominsa and trade it in with the standard weapon that they drop, as well as this extra item, and you get the glowy version without having to craft. And they look so pretty. Like, especially like when I look at the Shiva's ice katana, it reminds me so much of Rukia's katana in Bleach. It's gorgeous. Anyhow, back to MSQ, off the deep end there from talking about relics and the Yokai Watch event. There, the devastating destruction caused by the calamity has blessed us with a bounty of sublime specimens. So the specimens that we are talking about are these corrupted crystals. We need these corrupted crystals. But something tells me that not but a perfect piece will satisfy your high standards, in which you must needs descend to the deepest depths. Amidst the flowing waters and the murderous Maronites lie the most fantastic formation I have found thus far. Take this highly advanced researcher's tool and use it to separate a small fragment from the large cluster. Place it within the warded pot and bear it back to me for inspection. The path which leads from Burgundy Falls to the base of the burning wall is treacherous and terrifying, but advance with appropriate caution and you shall surely survive. All right. All right. Okay, it's down below. Okay, that's fine. I could go down below, and of course, there's a big guy right there. I think that's just like that's not the Fate boss, but I think that's okay. That must just be an A rank and not an S rank, because it will let you know in your chat, in your logs, that you sense a very powerful being nearby or something to that effect. Now, granted, I'm level 45. I still don't want to be touching that. I don't want him to see me. Fortunately, my motorcycle is somehow sneaky sinks enough that he's not turning around to come eat me. But that giant thing would eat me. Like, I want nothing to do with him. Oh, I'm just gonna drive by these dudes. Because where are the frick... okay. Okay. Oh, yes, and I love... So those people that I just drove by, I absolutely love that they have their chocobos out for this, because as a reminder, with the chocobo system, that is getting reworked, but if you have leveled under the current system, particularly if you've reached like level 20, for instance, you're not going to lose that progress necessarily. You're still going to be rewarded for putting all that work into your chocobo. And honestly, right now, one of the best ways to level your chocobo is to do it with Fates. So now is a fantastic time for leveling up your chocobo. Anytime that you're about to log off, I highly recommend stapling your chocobo, whether it be with your free company, whether it be at an apartment that has the stables outside of it, what may have you. But if you're at a free company, you should stable it with your free company, because your free company should be maintaining their stables and keeping them clean, or at the very least have brooms for you to be able to use to clean up those. Because you want your stables to be clean, otherwise your chocobo is not going to get as much MP, or experience, not MP. Oh my gosh. See, I hate this area, because I constantly get myself all sorts of turned around. Reason number 5,051,051 as to why people don't like A Realm Reborn. Navigating crap like this is unnecessarily complex. Okay, it's over here. It's over here. I have to click on this cluster specifically. No, it's not in line of sight. It's right there! Marinite really doesn't give two fucks about me being right there. Which, I mean, fine with me. If they leave me alone, then I don't have to use my stick. But I also don't know that they have kneecaps for me to even take, so... And now to drive all the way back over here. To save myself from some of this painful navigation, I'm just going to teleport over to Camp Drivona and then drive over. But yes, like some of the fetch quests, it's like, why do we have to make this so unnecessarily complex to navigate from point A to point B? I don't understand. And I saw something on, I think it was on Instagram when I was posted I was going to go live. One of those news outlets had posted something about how Square Enix was, or the Final Fantasy XIV developers were looking into potentially allowing players to skip like entire expansions or something like that, which I'd have to agree with like some of the base. Now, there were some people that were just like, oh, that's straight up dumb idea. Like just 100% off board. Didn't think anything should change. Personally, I'm like, some things should change. Like, why I had to navigate that particular bridge all the way down to the bottom in such a weird fashion was annoying. And I'd have to come all the way back without having a quick way to get back to this NPC. Like that, frustrating. But allow the opportunity for all characters who have already gone through this a better opportunity to be able to skip some things. Might be nice. But also cutting down on some of those fetch quests. Certain ones, like, yes, as much as I hate some of those Titan fetch quests, I kind of get what they were trying to do. But I feel like, again, that's somewhere where they could cut back at least a little bit. Because I get wanting to annoy the player, because that's part of the point of that story, is they are trying to annoy you. But at the same time, it's like, maybe dial it back, because you're annoying the player to the point that they still quit. And that's not what you want. You don't want players quitting just because of freaking fetch quests. And like that particular fetch quest, like again, I understand like if you actually like pay attention to the dialogue and stuff, it's supposed to be annoying to go get that crystal to an extent, but especially if you're just skipping the dialogue, you really have absolutely no context as to the purpose of that fetch quest or anything like that. It just looks like a really, really annoying fetch quest. And the purpose of that quest is not actually to annoy you. It is actually just to get a corrupted crystal. And, like, also supposed to somehow show the corrupted crystal's power, but it doesn't show the corrupted crystal's power. It just annoys you with how far you have to go. So, I mean, I don't know. Alright, so. Bird I just know I'm just butchering this guy's name. If you'd grant me a moment to examine the crystal. Ah, it is that you desire to corrupt a crystal overflowing with wind-aspected aether. Remind me, for what purpose did you intend to use this crystal again? What? To breach a barrier comprised of wind-aspected aether. Oh dear. That may prove to be problematic, as this crystal would only serve to strengthen the barrier. I suppose I'm at fault for not inquiring as to your objectives from the start. Had I known your intent, I would have never sent you to Hahasako. But what is science if not trial and error? Can you truly say that this failure has taught you nothing? If I was skipping the dialogue, I would say yes, it taught me absolutely nothing. Reading the dialogue, I would still say yes, it still taught me absolutely nothing. Think, woman, now you understand the methods necessary to safely collect a corrupted crystal. The methods being a long fetch quest. Okay. You will doubtless have no difficulty doing so once more. What's more, the crystal you collected can serve as an invaluable resource for the ethereal studies conducted by the students of Baldessian. You've heard of them. Excuse me. Well, I don't mean to boast, but I have a professional relationship with the organization. Not as equals, of course. I would never be so bold as to claim that level of expertise. Are you all right? Your eyes seem to glaze over for a moment. I feel like that joke's kind of fair. That joke's kind of fair. Because I feel like in that moment, like, people would be glazed over eyes as sprouts. Anyway, I shan't keep you from your task. You've still a corrupted crystal to find. Yeah, of course I do. Because where would we be without more fetch quests, you know? Alright, so. He knows where I might find the crystal that I seek. Okay. Corrupted crystals of sufficient size and strength are not all that common, I fear. Fortunately, one of my other students, Sena, claims to have discovered another promising site in eastern Lenosha. Wait, that's not correct. Eastern Lenosha was where she was nearly killed when wandering too close to an imperial castrum. Haha. Now that made for an amusing anecdote. It was western Lenosha. Very serious, on the Isles of Umbra, to be precise. I can't recall her exact reasoning, something to do with one of Dalaman's talons or some such nonsense. What I can say for certain is she is still in Aleport, attempting to gain access to the Isles. Why not travel there and see if Santa's inquiries bear fruit? If you could look past the crass and violent ways of local pirates, you might find your time there to be quite pleasurable. Oh, and do not forget to take your makeshift warded pot, lest you think you're unprepared for the task. Okay. I'm gonna guess that she's a Miko. Maybe might be a Moon Miko. Because Moon Mikos tend to have more A's and H's in their names, even though this one doesn't have an H at all in her name. Those extra A's, or those A's, make me think maybe she's a Miko. Again, I could be 100% wrong. Oh, she's up there. Why am I running on foot when I could have Alpha over here? Oh, I'm wrong. Just a basic here. Corrupted crystals. Madam, I have no interest in being the butt of your jokes, so if you've no other reason for addressing me, kindly leave me be. I'll be damned. Professor Leibniz did send you. Beg your pardon, it seems we got off on the wrong foot. I'm Sena, greatest of Professor's pupils, which is doubtless why he bid you seek me out. Indeed, I am an accomplished scholar with an extensive background in... Oh, gosh, just listen to me prattle on and on. I must have given this introduction a dozen times by now. You know? I feel that. Like, I remember when I was teaching... Anytime I would do the first day of classes, going over the syllabus and everything, it was so, it was so boring going over the syllabus. not just for my students, but for me too, because I'd gone over the same thing so many times. Because there's, I mean, like, yes, there were certain things that were different each time, but not much and not enough to make it interesting. And it was something that when I would talk about instructional method, I would always get to the part where I explained in my syllabus that I was not a lecturer. And every time I'd get to that point, I'd be like, okay, so I would ask you all to raise your hands if you've been listening to me 100% of the time on out. Because keep in mind that by the time I hit this point, we were about 10 minutes into me talking. I'd be like, I would say, I would ask you to raise your hands if you've been listening to me the whole time, but I'm not going to do that because if you did raise your hand, I would just call you a liar. The reason I say that is because I haven't even been listening to me this entire time because this is boring. It's boring listening to me talk. And especially without anything else happening, and especially when it's just, or when that interaction is, oh, hey, I'm writing on the whiteboard or writing on the chalkboard or whatever board is in front of me. Like, that's nice. For my husband's first character that he started going through Final Fantasy XIV in, I did do a lot of flying him around and everything, but he didn't get very connected to the game that way. So about a year or so later, he came back to the game. He started a fresh new character. And I was like, you just let me know when you want me to hop in. And I feel like that went much better for him. Rather than having me fly him around everywhere. And I feel like that, so sleeping or playing RuneScape during most lectures, totally fair. Like I had, I still remember my calculus class that I took my freshman year. I'd already taken calculus in high school, but the thing is that I didn't pass the AP exam because unfortunately, my teacher did not teach us the things that we needed to know for the AP exam until 2 days before the AP exam. It was like 3 chapters worth of content before an AP exam. Needless to say, every single one of us got 1s out of 5s. So basically, we all got Fs. Every single one of us. And so when I took calculus in college, it was a lot of the stuff that I actually had really super mastered and was really good at. And so I didn't really pay attention to lectures. And I was always the person that, like, I actually did fine. Ew, why? Go, like, that's weird to go from calculus to linear algebra in the middle of the semester. Like, that's really weird. Like, I understand, like, having some need for matrices, but yeah, shouldn't have to go all the way to linear algebra. But I remember I always sat in the back of classes because I wasn't one of those people who wanted to sit in the front. So I would sit in the back. And most of the time, when I actually did go to this calculus class, I usually wasn't paying attention. Which was better than the guy that was sitting in front who, this was so long ago that Farmville was popular on Facebook. Like, we're talking quite some time ago. And, like, we're talking 12, 13 years ago or something like that. Anyway, Professor did not like the guy that was at the front because he knew that that guy was playing Farmville. He wasn't going to fight with him. But that guy in the front was always complaining that he didn't understand what was going on. It's like, well, maybe because you aren't paying attention. Me, I also wasn't paying attention, but I would pay attention every once in a while just to make sure I was following. And one of the times I noticed that the professor graphed the absolute value of the floor of X wrong. So I corrected him. It was a very easy correction. And it was just a simple mistake. He had just graphed it as the floor of X instead of the absolute value of the floor of X. Well, then after that, it was like anytime I did pay attention, he would stop lecture, move to the side, and just stare at me. And then I'd take my earbuds out, and I'm like, yes? And he's like, what did I do wrong now? I'm like, no, I'm just making sure that, like, I'm up to speed on everything that you're talking about. Because, like, I would pay attention enough to be able to gauge whether I needed to be paying attention or not. Because, like, if I wanted to make sure that if he hit something that I wasn't sure on, I would stop being distracted and pay attention. And I would do that every so often, but yeah. And I, like, and engineering the test average to be 50% sounds like a different professor that I had. And her I had to work with when I started teaching higher ed. And I don't think she remembered me from when I was an undergraduate. Fortunately, I don't think she did. But she... yeah, she would constantly make jokes that she wanted a cattle prod for her students. It was always a joke, but she would that would totally be something that she would do, is engineering a test average to be 50%. Like, she would totally build a test that way. Like, she's just one of those people. And she retired, like, I okay, voluntarily, okay. So that's better, not great, but better at least, like, for demoing electricity, that's fair. But yeah, she just wanted one so she could continue her jokes, and they ended up getting her a joke one for her retirement party. But it was... yeah, she was definitely one of those people that would have engineered test averages to be 50%, and they complained about it. Like, the complaints that she had, I'm just like, come on. Give me just a second. I'm going to turn the fan on in this room real quick. Sorry about that. This room, this room is the hottest room in my house that I came in, and right now it's sitting at about 84 degrees in this room. So it's starting to feel it a little bit. All right, so Sienna here, she said, as I told the professor in my many missives, I believe the area surrounding Ferris Sirius is replete with corrupted crystals of exceptional strength. Unfortunately, I've yet to test my hypothesis, as all access to the Isles of Umbra is prohibited at present, for reasons unknown to me. You see, my attempts to acquire this information are often met with annoyance and disdain. It's rather puzzling, since I always take the time to explain my motivations in great detail to the subjects of my questioning. Oh no. She suffers from the same thing I do, which is probably over-explaining. Mayhap you will have better luck wresting information from these yellow jackets. I've all but given up at this point. Okay. Okay. Yellow jackets. I don't think this is a door. Oh, it is. No one's in here for me to talk to. Okay. Not this room. Let's try it out here. Nope, it says someone's supposed to be up above. Gotta love when this stuff happens. Oh. There he is. I just happened to see a little bit of gold out of the corner of my eye there. Ah, you startled me. I mean, I think that's fair. I came from above, so. It's definitely a Sun Miko with that Q there. Don't you know better than to sneak up on a person at a time like this? Also, Fairy Orsian time, it's almost 1 a.m. What with all the fatuous gossip of spirits and specters haunting the Isles of Umbra, just because I know it's nonsense doesn't make it any less frightening. Sure. Sure, you know it's nonsense. Okay. So they're worried about ghosts. Alright. Alright. Alright, dude next to the mermaid water fountain, or fountain thing. Statue? Okay, it is a water fountain. You're keen on traveling to the Isles of Umbra? Bloody elves, lass. Are you drunk or just crazy? Ain't nothing there but death, death, and more death. Alright then. I guess they don't recognize that I am the one that took care of Titan, but sure, whatever. The Isles of Umbra, what interests have you in the God's forsaken place? Ever since we were forced to abandon Pharaoh Sirius, the Isles have become not more than a graveyard for ships unable to navigate the shores, and a purgatory for the souls dragged down to the depths with them. Alright. Well, they told me no, but I'm pretty sure I can take care of whatever problem they've got. Ah, Bobo, you've returned. Tell me of your findings. Really? Infested with the undead, you say? That's a very, very interesting development. Excuse me for a moment while I gather my thoughts. Yeah, like, this game helped me be better about properly reading the text of main story. Because, like, when I played World of Warcraft, I did not. It wasn't very... Or, well, I should say I did not. Like, so I didn't ever read the story. There were some times I read the story, but there were quite a few times that I just went ahead and skipped it. But there were certain quests that I, like, read the story. Like, I don't remember the story for, like, the quests that were for the, their little mini game that's supposed to be, like, Plants vs. Zombies in World of Warcraft. But I remember that one to an extent. I'd have to go back to the foothills and refresh my memory because, like, we're talking, like, 7 or 8 years ago, if not longer, since I've done that quest. But that one was always one of my favorite ones because, I mean, it's Plants vs. Zombies. Like, it's always fun to have little fun collaborations like that. Like, I thought it was so much fun to see that in that game. And I remember there being, and in Legion, like, all the little fun Easter eggs in general were really fun because, like, one of the rare spawns and one of the Legion zones were demonic unicorns. And they'd be standing over Charlie the unicorn. They killed Charlie. The 2 demonic unicorns killed Charlie. And where they were at was Candy Mountain. I'm just like, like, stuff like that, World of Warcraft, I did pay attention to, but most of the stuff I didn't pay attention in. And that game really got me in a bad habit of skipping stuff. But this game got me back in the habit of properly reading things. Now, there were some things that I still, from time to time, still end up skipping over and glossing over, particularly this expansion, just because of time. Where I'm like, no, I really need to make sure that I only have an hour and I have this, and that I need to do. So there were times that I was giving up actually reading the dialogue. But it's something that I plan to go back and refresh, or well, catch myself back up with all that dialogue and everything. Worry not, my friend. I've given your findings some thoughts, and I've concluded that this talk of spirits is not more than local folklore. As for why all travels to Umbra, or the Isles of Umbra, is restricted, well, mayhap it's too dangerous, owing to the abandonment of Pharaoh Sirius. Yes, well, anyway, while you were questioning those yellow jackets, I paid a visit to the local pub, since even an esteemed scholar like myself enjoys dulling her wits on occasion. I'm not gonna lie, there were plenty of times in my undergraduate that I would drink when doing homework, and some of my best theoretical proofs were actually done when my wits were dulled, so to speak. It was there that I heard tell of a man named Skyfrin, who was recently detained after returning from, wait for it, the Isles of Umbra. This is the first I've heard of someone actually traveling to and from there, so I'm curious as to how he obtained permission. Mind having a chat with him in my stead? He was arrested after all, so I'm somewhat reticent to approach him myself. Sure. You're too scared of getting arrested, but you know, like, it's okay for a tiny little Lalafell to get arrested, but an esteemed scholar, no. Hey, what'd you get arrested for? I have to go back. She calls to me. Sings to me. Okay, so he's heard some sort of siren song or something. Tell Mimidoa, I'm sorry, give him this, and that he was right. Or could you release me? Yes, release me. I will go and tell her. Let me go to her. Yeah, it's like he's either under possession of some sort of siren song, or he's been tempered in some way. But considering we haven't heard any summonings in the Lenosha areas, like we just took care of Titan, and as far as we know, Leviathan hasn't been summoned, I'm going to go with he's heard some sort of siren song. What does Guy's friend have to say? That's not terribly helpful. I could care less how much he misses his favorite bar wench. But what was that about a man named Mimidoa? Wait, I know that name. That's a bastard who grabbed my arse the other day at the pub. Well, if you want to give him that feather, be my guest. I'm not going anywhere near him and his wandering hands. You know, fair. That's fair. Don't worry, me and my stick got this. We got this, Sienna. We got this. We got you. Oh god, of course he's frickin' Lalafell too. Just gonna slap him in the face for good measure. Another Nishit, are ye? No. Then what are ye? Speak up, missy, I can't hear ye. He even looks like a little frickin' creeper. What the fuck, man? Don't go grabbing women's asses. That's fucking creepy. It's fucking creepy and rude. Bugger me, is this what I think it is? Now, could it be? You found this, you say? Where'd you say you found it? Skyfriend, you say? Was hoping to have a word with the lad, but sounds like there's not left twixt his ears. He was supposed to help patch up Ferriciris, he was. Company sent me to supervise a lot of them. We're getting work done on their own, see? Half of them walked off, half of them ran off, and half of them up and vanished. That's 3 halves, sir. You you aren't even one half yourself. And you just counted 3 halves. What's that? You looking for passage to the Isles of Umbra? Why didn't you say so? I've been thinking of dispatching someone to take a look on behalf of old Mimidoa. Tell about the land lies. Ain't nobody been interested till you came a-calling. Whole port's up in arms about spirits and so forth. If I had the gil, I'd hire some sellswords and let 'em sort it out. But you'll do in a pinch, you will. Show this parchment to the skipper and he'll see you back, or see you there and back. Well, I will. Just get me away from them. Creepy ass ass grabber. Alright, Sienna. So you went and had a word with Mimidoa. I hope the valuable time you saw fit to waste amounted to something. I mean. Hey, Levy. It did amount to something, Sienna. I understand. Like, he grabbed your ass. But he gave me permission, so. You mean that disgusting creature was Skyfred's superior? I find that hard to believe. But this writ of passage does appear to be genuine, so it must be true. I must say, it is a relief to work with such an industrious woman as you. I look forward to hearing of the discoveries you will make on the Isles of Umbra. Without me. Bitch, are you telling me that you are not coming? Like you've been talking about how you've been trying to get this passage over to the Isles of Umbra. And now you're just like, oh yeah, now I'm scared of all these ghost stories that I've heard. I'm not coming. Like... Fine, I failed to see the justification for dragging me along on your journey, but if you insist, I will go as well. Like, she just wants me to do her bitch work, it sounds like. Even though, like, yes, I have interest in going there myself, and I would go without her if I had to. But also, she has interest in going there. She's just pretending like she has no interest so that she could claim whatever... Like if something good comes out of it, she'd be like, oh yeah, I was part of this. It's like, no bitch, you didn't do anything. It's so true. Everyone seems so unable to do anything in this story. Like, Y'shtola at the very least, like, she was quick to have our back during the whole Titan crap. And constantly was, like, ready to pounce. Like, she was just ready to bite off anyone's heads. And was constantly getting shitty. Like, with them, like, trying to say, oh, we don't know why Titan got summoned. She's like, you all fucked up. You had a pact with the kobolds that you broke. So, of course they're going to summon him. Oh, you should watch your tongue. Now she's right. Like, at the very least, Y'shtola was very quick to be like, I will mouth off to these fuckers. But Ida is just like, oh no, my ankle, I can't dance. Oh no. And then Thancred is like, oh well, you need to go sneak in and get these maps, even though he was a rogue. It's like, yeah, sure, let's send the white mage in to go get these maps. Like, but yeah, Y'shtola's the only one that has really tried to be helpful through everything so far. Like, we had like, we finally got in with the Sylphs, and Papalimo and Ida showed up, and they're like, hey, we're here too. And the Sylphs are like, no, we don't trust you. Who the hell are these people? And, like, ruined everything that we had, any progression we had made with them. And they were like, oh no, we can't help you fix this. It's like, you're the ones who broke it. What do you mean you can't help fix it? Like, I just... yeah. But yeah, so many of them just really don't want to help. And, like, just like to claim that they helped. The latest of the biggest annoyances has been Alphino. But Alphino just... he's very high on my list right now. Because it's Realm Reborn. And Alphino to Realm Reborn is just fucking annoying. Yeah. Okay, Sienna. But 12 of I witness, if you leave me behind to be devoured by some horrid abomination, I shall come back to haunt you. Yes, he is a child with too much freedom, but also needs to be babied all the freaking time. Because it was like he wanted to bitch about how cold he was in Kurthus. It's like, oh, snotty little rich boy. Go buy yourself a fucking coat. The vendor is like not even 10 yalms away from you. How about you go grab it? But no, he couldn't do that. He just wanted to stand there and bitch about how cold he was. Alright, Fairy Skipper says, ha, take me to the Isles of Umbra. She bids, as if it's as simple as, oh, you've got a writ of passage. Alright then, come aboard. Alright, Sienna. This doesn't seem all that bad. I'm not saying I'd like to build a summer home here, but... oh, the hell's with this. Here, take your pot and go on without me. You've harvested corrupted crystals before, right? So it is as though you require my assistance? Speak with the man guarding the gate. I'm sure he'll let you in. Now, if you would please excuse me. I mean, in her defense, she is just a researching scholar. She was not equipped for battle or any of that stuff. So, like, her not wanting to be here, like... I'm more on board with. Like, I get it. Beg your pardon, madam, but how did you come here? Access to this island is currently restricted. Yeah, I had a missive and I... That's true. White Mage really isn't a battle class. But I at least have a means of keeping myself alive. So moments like this I do absolutely love with the Warrior of Light, because it's like, okay, rather than answering his question or anything like that, I just show him that I have a pot. Just, no pot. I'm not sure I follow. Like, I'm just imagining my little Amorphel, like, pulling out the pot and be like, I have this. And just smiling from ear to ear. Oh, I see. You wish to harvest a corrupted crystal. Sorry, friend. But you may have to return empty-handed. No. No, that is unacceptable. The Rip Master Mimidoa gave you... or the Rip Mr. Mimidoa gave you may grant you access to the island, but only authorized personnel may proceed past this point. Why, you ask? Look up and see for yourself. When the giant mass of crystal struck the lighthouse, it caused severe damage to both the structure and the machinery within that once powered the beacon. I, contrary to what small folk would have you believe, the fires of Pharaoh Sirius were not the product of a mage's thaumaturgy or a colossal arcane bomb, but an elaborate contraption fueled by ethereal energy. Repairs are ongoing, but is anyone's guess when they'll be complete. What's worse, all work has ceased since rumors of the Walking Dead drove off our entire crew. Not that those rumors are incorrect. I observed the fiends from a distance at the ship graveyard to the south. What's drawn them to our shores is still a mystery, though. I'll make you a deal, Boba. Help me unravel this mystery, and I'll bring you your corrupted crystal. In fact, I shall begin searching for one that satisfies your requirements. As for where to begin your inquiries into the situation, it so happens that a party of 3 adventurers came ashore not long ago, seeking to scavenge valuable trinkets at the ship graveyard. I'd be surprised if they knew nothing of the undead infestation, so it might behoove you to question them. Okay. Sure. Let me go ask. Hi, guys. Okay, at least you're all 3 together. It's all there for the taking. 5 bleeding years worth of wreckage and their cargo. But those queer dash things and that voice. Actually, the voice was quite nice. Why I decided to do that voice, I don't know. God's that voice, that single fleeting verse. I can still hear it. Stay clear of the southern shore, friend. Took every ounce of my strength to resist. Okay. You saw them too, right? Dead people? Just shambling about without a care in the world. Except they do seem to care, that is. And start shuffling toward the water. Okay. So we got a case of zombies and a singing voice. So again, I'm thinking siren. I drove past him. There he is. There's David. This talk of an alluring voice is disturbingly familiar. As if... But that's impossible. They're all dead. Aren't they? Now he's sweating. Okay. But if they have returned, that would mean... Oh, beg your pardon. I was just, thinking about something. Apparently he grew frustrated waiting for the sweet young lass with skin as soft as phoenix down to return, which I'm assuming is you. What? I don't know what sort of arrangement you have, but you should probably go and explain yourself. What? Excuse me? Skin as smooth as a phoenix. That's fucking creepy. What's been keeping you, initiate? I ain't getting any younger, you know. Some honey-voiced harlot's been calling out the folk what wandered near the ship graveyard, and it stirred up the dead and all. Bloody hells, takes me back to days as a cannon boy sailing under old Mistbeard. But they wouldn't dare, would they? Not after the lesson we learned them last time. Bah, they bloody would. Though, wouldn't they? Brazen old biddies. Some folks said as the first purge would be the last, but I knew deep down in my bones that as this day would come, and come it has, I bet me bum ear a siren's behind all of this. Nay, not one of the sanguine variety, initiate. I speak o' the other kind. Them what's got feathers and lure sailors into a watery grave with their sweet, sweet song. Oh, but it don't end there. No, drowning's just a start. See, even in death, a man stays bound to the beast, forced to do her bidding till its corpse can't do it no more. 'Tis a face I wouldn't wish on me worst enemy, except maybe in drink, and I'd regret it after. Any road, 'tis up to us to stop this hell's-born hussy afore she takes another soul. Of course, we can't send ye march into war without these. The sire don't have no power, or a man can't hear her song. 'Tis lucky for you I carry a spare pair, and lucky for both of us, I'm a superstitious old sod, eh? Well, she ain't coming to us, so we'd best head over to her, to the ship graveyard, initiate. Well, to give this creep some credit, at least he's coming with me to help me. He's not just going to stand over here and be like, okay, you go take care of it, bye! And honestly, I did not remember if it was a siren or not from MSQ. I was like, it's pirates. We're talking about something singing and trying to summon that guy in prison back. Like, the only thing, mythical creature I could think of that would do something like that is a siren. So, and typically, just as is with the lore here, typically they sing and summon sailors to the water, and they ultimately end up drowning. If she passes near the shore, she's sure to spy the campfire and come looking. Just a matter of waiting now. Alright, so excuse me. Skeleton. Mind your manners. I forgot that I have a level 45 White Mage quest to do, but I am going to go ahead and do this quest. Oh, actually, it might be worth it for me to go do the 45 quest, because it looks like at level 45 I unlock Holy, which deals unaspected damage with a potency of 140 to all nearby enemies. So the level 45 White Mage quest is where I will finally have my AoE damage instead of just single targets. So I am going to go ahead and step over to do that, even though it is going to be somewhat annoying to come back over to here. Having that AoE damage could potentially be helpful. If there ends up being a lot of baddies. And it said it was going to sink me down to level 46, so I will still have the level 45 holy ability for completing that quest. Is it completely necessarily for me to do this? Absolutely not. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Alright, so Rhea Osita is going to send me on a pilgrimage before I deal with this siren. Your command of white magic has advanced considerably, Boba. Yes, the time draws near. Let us begin our preparations for the quieting. At its roots, the ritual is no different from the acts of pacifying that you have already performed. The difference lies only in the difficulty of the effort. The Great One possesses a power unfathomably more immense than the elementals you have communed with thus far. Power so immense that a mage might be easily overwhelmed by the sheer force of its will. To prevent such a catastrophic fate, our tradition decrees that a special garb must be donned before performing the ritual. I prepared for you these pieces, but I fear they will not avail you in their current state. So it is I would send you on a journey. I trust you know the story of Atoa Kant. Rare among the Pagil, he left the forest behind to travel the realm, healing the land and its people. As tribute to his wanderlust after he passed, his ashes were divided among several urns, which were in turn carried to the far reaches of the realm. And it was there in the distant lands that the great mage so loved, that his ashes were buried and monuments erected in his honor. You are to go on a pilgrimage to these sites and receive the blessings of your forebear. Only then will the garb I've gifted you be imbued with his divine powers. Mind you, you will find that these places are not welcoming as they might have been in Master Atoa's time. The first site is on the shores of western Lenosha, in a place now feathered as Serpent's Tongue, home of a band of vile pirates. The next is to be found in Mordona, in that overgrown labyrinth of roots and vines so affectionately known as the Tangle. I do hope that Master Atoa's ashes have survived those most oppressive environs. The third site I would have you visit is perhaps the most treacherous location of the lot, Rabon's Push in northern Thanalan, a stone throw from an imperial stronghold. I urge you to exercise extreme caution. Okay. So, one of the places I need to go is all the way over here. Another one is in Mordona, all the way down here. Haven't been to Mordona yet. And the last one is going to be in Northern Thailand. Also haven't been to Northern Thailand yet, all the way over here. So with this quest and with all of the level 45 job quests for any of the A Realm Reborn jobs, this is where you start getting pieces of artifact gear that are level 45. You do not end up getting the entire set. You only end up with certain pieces. You will get the final piece later on, and then you will get a level 50 piece, or level 50 set to replace it. And on top of that, because there are all of the post Realm Reborn stuff, there are a significant number of item levels between the artifact gear and what is actually the highest item level that you can have with a Realm Reborn gear. So keep in mind that you can replace all of those artifact pieces for better gear. If you like to look at the artifact pieces, you could always use them for glamour. This is a tendency that happens as far as the artifact pieces go, not being your best in slot. That happens every expansion because you get it towards the end of an expansion's content, and then you have all the post content, and all the post content you can eventually purchase better gear. However, it's not a matter of, oh, hey, 5 levels before the level cap of that expansion, you get sub-artifact gear that just isn't quite as potent, you know, like, that's not how that goes. But for some reason, A Realm Reborn, that was the choice that they made. Some of these mobs are taking longer than what would typically take, or what one would typically take for these mobs, but they are also higher level than what I am, so. Okay, I need to pray. Naturally, Lalafels have the cutest emotes ever. If any of you don't watch any of like Meowne's videos, I highly recommend checking Meowne out, because he constantly shares what things look like, such as emotes, and like one of the latest emotes, naturally, the Lalafell has the cutest version of the emote, and all the other races look pretty much exactly the same as each other. But Lalafells have a special version that just, well, in the natural Lalafell way, just looks much more adorable. Alright, I want to make sure I get out of this area before I try to teleport, because I just don't want to constantly get interrupted. So my closest teleport is going to be... I'm going to go to Central Thanaland. And then drive up to Northern Thanaland, I guess. So these areas that I haven't hit up at A Realm Reborn yet is because story hasn't taken me there yet. Because for MSQ, it looks like MSQ, I am approaching quickly to where I'm at level-wise. Like, I'm at least level 42. So there is that. But I am still behind where I'm at in level, because I am level 45 on White Mage, so... It's like I just haven't reached the point of MSQ to bring me out to these zones. But the MSQ will eventually bring me out to Northern Thanalan and to Mordona. I want to make sure that I tune to these crystals before I just drive by them. As far as MSQ goes in Northern Thanalan, I honestly don't remember all that much from out here. The main thing I remember, as far as my time spent out here, has actually had absolutely nothing to do with MSQ. It's been for farming, gathering nodes, particularly cobalt, because I went through a lot of cobalt when working on submarines and such. Okay. Let me attune to this crystal. Alright, got both of those. Got pop over here. I could probably expect something similar, like these are level 50 NPCs here, so if there are any mobs over here, they might take me a little bit longer. Not impossible for me to kill at level 45, otherwise they wouldn't give you the quest, or idealistically they wouldn't give you the quest at level 45, but should not be impossible. Okay. I should be fine to drive by that Earth Sprite because it has the green icon next to it, which means that it's only going to get pissed off if I poke it. The red icon next to our name means that they will aggro. Some of them can aggro based upon sound, some of them will aggro based upon sight. The triangle indicates that's a regular mob. This guy right here, it is green and it has spikes. When it's green like this with spikes, it means that they are a special rank. But again, because it's green, it's not going to aggro unless you poke it and piss it off. This is a regular non-aggro on-site mob. The one with spikes is a special class. And the special class, when it's like that, means that they are a B rank. Alright, this is dangerous direction that I'm coming from, but let's see if I can make it through. Don't mind me just going through an Imperial base, 'cause why not? Don't mind me, I'm just a non-Imperial person. I'm not here to spy at all. Wow, they really did, for the most part, pay me no mind. Like, a couple of them were kind of pissed off, but... Okay, there we go. Now we got, like, at the entrance after... They're mad that I'm leaving. Okay. Sure, guys. Sure. Let's get pissed off now. Kind of seems like too little too late, but sure. Okay. And spray here. Okay. Before I leave Mordona, I am going to go up here because there is an aether current, or a, there's an aether crystal here, so I do want to make sure that I attune to this crystal, so that way I can teleport here in the future and not have to do quite so much driving. I mean, I'm already close enough. I may as well just go there. That way I don't have to drive through Imperial bases again. Exactly. None may enter, or all may enter. None may leave. Like I never knew that the Empire was like, hey, we want to host you forever. You must be here with us forever. Like I never would have expected that from them. I would have expected them to be a little bit more pissed off that I was in their base to begin with. They're just like, nah, it's cool that you're here. But, oh, you want to fucking leave? You think you can just leave? No. No. You our friend now. You gotta stay here forever. Alright, so we prayed to all those statues. Your safe return heartens me, Boba. I can feel newfound power emanating from the garb I gave you. I trust that this stage of your pilgrimage was a success. Now that you have traveled the realm and seen the land of Master Atawa did, I would share with you the rest of his tale. The histories claim that Atawa Khans disappeared in the mountains of Ogomoro, the kobold motherland. This is not untrue, but there's more to the story. When the great mage did not return from his journey, one of his most devoted students went and searched for him. As the legends have it, the young mage single-handedly fought off veritable legions of kobold while scouring the mountain for any sign of his master. Sadly, it was as all had feared. Though the young mage eventually found his master, the great Otoa Khan lived no more. As if the death of a man were not enough, Thyrus, Otoa Khan's great staff, a mighty relic passed down by his ancestors, was lost to the shadows. Undeterred, the young mage fought off the kobold hordes to carry his master's remains back to the surface. A ceremony was held to honor Master Otoa's life and deeds, and urns housing his ashes were carried off to the far-reaching frontiers of which he was so fond in giving his living years. All the urns, that is, except for one. Yes, though the precise location is known only to a few, Master Otoa also rests closer to home. Here in the Twelveswood, not far from Proud Creek, you'll find yet another monument to the great mage. Take with you this habit and pay your respects as before. If you keep pure intentions in your heart and in your mind, then the healer's robe shall be your reward. Okay. Maybe they did change some things so that way you get everything all at once. As I said, it has been a hot minute since I've done a realm reward quest and everything. So that's another purpose for having this all, is to sort of refresh my memory on some of this. So that way, when I am sharing information for Sprouts and everything, we have the most up-to-date information. But let's see. We need to pray up here. Okay, I kind of vaguely remember coming up here because I remember having so many of these guys pissed off, but I had Holy. So they must have condensed this. Unless I'm mistaken. Like I remember spamming Holy on these guys a whole bunch. Okay. I was like, I have a feeling I'm still gonna line of sight this guy. But it's at least worth the attempt. Come on, dude, die before I need to refresh my dot. Okay. Oh, I missed that bit of dialogue and I don't have it in my chat. The power of Otoa Kant has been lost here. Return to Camp Tranquil and seek counsel for Rhea Osena. Okay. So basically, like, all of his magic is gone from this one, it seems. The other locations still have their magical presence, but for some reason, it's been lost there. So I coming back to Rayasena to say, hey, magic's lost here. Here you go. Here's the ropes. The urn holding Master Atoa's ashes was stolen. This cannot be. Grave robbery is a damnable enough crime in itself, but whatever man or scoundrel would dare defile a resting place of a padjal? Rest assured that I will investigate this heinous crime immediately. In the meantime, your pilgrimage demands you travel to one last destination. This vile leg of your journey will take you to the very place that Master Atoa drew his last breath. Okamoro, the homeland of the kobolds in outer Lenosha, is there in plain sight of the kobold dig that the student of whom I spoke did erect a monument to his fallen master. Okay, can we stop having me come back to you and going back to where, like, stop with the back and forth. Just send me to all 5 places. Like, why did I have to do 3, then 1, and now 1 more? Like, because it's like, now I feel like I grossly underestimated how much time this was going to end up taking. Because, like, this won't take a ton of time. Like, I'll still have time for that solo mission before the end of stream. And it's like, no, instead I have to keep going back and talking to her for not really a great reason. Like, there's a place where they could have done some condensing. Yes, at this point, I'm getting experience just from exploring maps. Or not experience, but level. I've gotten a level from it. Like, there was a decent chunk of experience that I needed to hit 46, and now... Alright, praying. Alright, I prayed. I guess while I'm here, before I teleport back to her, again, I drive past these kobolds, piss them off, and tune to this aether current, or to this Aethernet here. Not aether current, Aethernet. So that way I can use the aether current to go back over to the other place, and to this one, easily enough in the future. Because I haven't been here yet. Okay. Yeah, there's not another one. Okay. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. It looks like that's the last hop that she's having me do, at least. Okay, so I will have time for that solo instance before the end of stream. I was getting really super annoyed. Welcome back, Boba. That journey was not an easy one, I trust, and yet I knew that Master Atoa would guide you safely back to me. In your travels, you have received the blessing of our great ancestor, and yet this was not the sole reason I sent you on this pilgrimage. Perhaps you sensed something of my intentions during your trip. Yes, Boba, as she would inherit Master Atoa's legacy, I wanted you to truly walk in his footsteps, to see the realm and both its beauty and its suffering with your own eyes, as the great mage did so long ago. And yet it is strange, no? A pirate's lair, a rampant jungle, mountains of fire. Of all the hostile environs to which you journeyed, the single grave despoiled was that which rests right here in our forest home. I suspect that this was the handiwork of no witless grave robber, but rather someone who knew all too well the value of that which was buried within. We must uncover the truth behind this crime and return Master Atoa's ashes to their rightful resting place, and quickly. You are with me, yes? Oh, you're gonna give me a follow-up. Okay. Okay, now I should get the... I should have realized, because it did say with the last quest I was getting Holy as a reward. Okay. Grave robbery is a loathsome enough crime in its own right, but to defile the final resting place of a padjal, such an act could only be performed by the lowliest of bandit scum. Though I would like to think that the elementals have already delivered due justice to the villain, we must take no chances in allowing an escape. Whilst you are away, I put my best Moogle on the hunt, searching for any sign of the culprit or the stolen remains. I dare say he should have a clue or two for us by now. At least, he better, if he values the little ball on his head. Suffices to say, though many Forestborn think of the Moogles as blessed, my own personal experience has found them to be more touched than anything else. Okay. So she doesn't really care for the Moogles, by the sounds of things. Oh, mistress, you should say such hurtful things. It is most unbecoming of a seed seer, Kupo. But fine, don't listen to me. Why, I told her just the other day this is why she remains, shall we say, unspoken for. The fuck? Like, to be like, oh, well, this is why she doesn't have, like, nobody likes her. Like, you little fuzzy asshole. No wonder she doesn't like you. She might not react to that phrasing at present, but her ire was indeed fierce, Kupo. Well, yeah. Like, to say, oh, well, this is why the guys don't like you. Okay, and she should be who she wants to be. You little, like, can I rip his pom-pom off? Do Moogles have kneecaps? Like, can I take his kneecaps? Because that, what a fucking little prick. Of course, you have not come to discuss my mistress's temper, but the grave robbery. A most unforgivable act of villainy, if I do say so myself, which I believe I just did, Kupo. Well, you did, but you also were saying that guys don't like her because of her temper. Like, I am pleased to say you, and you will be pleased to hear, that the culprit did not escape Moogle eyes, Kupo. Well, my eyes, he did escape. My associate, Puknopoki. Okay, it's not the one to say right here. However, claims to have seen a band of ruffians skulking off in the direction of Red Belly Hive with various of sundry stolen goods in tow. Among them, a rather conspicuously elaborate urn, Kupo. I do not know what the Red Bellies are up to, but surely it could be nothing good. Please, Boba, go quickly. If the urn is lost, I fear Rayo's ire will be the least of my worries, Kupo. Well, I mean, considering you're being a little asshole to her, like, I would say, yeah, that's on the worry list, but there's definitely a list of worries for you, which includes me, sir. The list includes me and my stick. Like, I will take up carpentry, sir, to make it worse. The other thing Boba needs to do is she needs to get her crafters and gatherers started up. But that's not exciting for stream. Like, that's pretty boring stuff. Those thieving crooks, those crooked thieves, defiling the resting place of a Pagel, why no amount of thrashing, lashings, or bashings would suffice. Kupapo? Why, if it isn't the lovely white beige Kupcha Koopa spoke of, and not a moment too soon. Why, I was just about to swoop in and give them their kaboopence myself. Now that you're here, however, I believe I'll just sit back and enjoy the show, Kupo. Those vile red bellies tossed the urn onto some ramshackle wagon, a most ignoble fate for a Pagel legend, I do declare, and carted it northwise towards their hive. You'll retrieve it safe and sound, won't you, Kupo? Sure, Kupopo. I really wish it was just the ones that were right there, but oh hey, at least this is close. I'll accept this too. I'm not gonna lie, this gladiator's sword is about as small as what daggers look nowadays. And I'm like, why do they have a sword? Okay. Come on, guys. I really just need the urn back. It's right there. Pretty big urn. It's bigger than I am. Just give me the urn. Apparently, I'm gonna take the entire wagon. But sure, you know, why not? Why not? Apparently, it's all stolen goods. Guess we'll take the whole damn thing. Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense as to why it's more like a short sword, but it was also like I also want to jab a little bit as to how big daggers have gotten, because I'm like, daggers should not be quite as long as a short sword, I don't think. Like, that definitely looked more like a short sword, and I feel like a lot of daggers nowadays look more like short swords, and I'm like, that's too long. Now, they're not getting quite World of Warcraft bad, because some of the ones that I had in World of Warcraft, I was like, this freaking supposed dagger is bigger than my character is. And I wasn't playing like a goblin or anything like that. It was bigger than my human, it was bigger than my blood elf, like, it was bigger than any of my characters. I'm like, why is this supposed dagger bigger than my, bigger than the player character? That shouldn't be a thing. So I'm like, I will commend them for, yes, they were like fantasy greatswords. I'm like, I don't feel like my character can even single-hand that. Like, I feel like she should be dual-wielding that with how big it is. But they're claiming that it's daggers and she's dual-wielding. So I do commend the Final Fantasy devs for keeping them at least relatively small, and I get why they've made them a little big, in my opinion. And it's because if they're too small, you can't see them very well. And they kind of do the same thing with with monk fist weapons. They kind of have a tendency to sometimes make them a little big, and like that's why honestly I end up not even worrying about monk fist weapons, and I'm just going to use Emperor's New Fist because I'd prefer to look like I'm just punching with my bare fists, rather than having some sort of large, gaudy looking fist weapons. But they tend to make them big because they want to make them flashy and showy, like everybody else's weapons, particularly relics. I feel like end up falling into this trap quite a bit. And it's like, I get it. When it's like, okay, you stand next to a Reaper who has this huge, awesome, badass looking scythe. Like, obviously a puny looking dagger that looks like a little kitchen knife doesn't look nearly as awesome. But also in the Final Fantasy world, we have to keep in mind that there are Tonberries with their little kitchen knives, and we know not to fuck with Tonberries. So we also know don't fuck with kitchen knives. Don't underestimate how much damage those little things could do. All right, we got this urn. So it says, thank you, Boba. The remains of our exalted forebear hauled away by brigands like a sack of loot. Is that where our land has come to? There could be no doubt. It is the Great One's fury that brings such chaos to the Twelvewood. The situation is grave indeed. I shall have our wood whalers deal with the red bellies. We have more important matters before us. And yet I fear we have hit another snag. Though the urn has been safely recovered, the harsh treatment it suffered at the hands of bandits has taken its toll. Uprooted from its proper resting place, the power of Atoa Kant, once housed within, has grown dim. I shall return the urn to its rightful home. Perhaps over time it will return to its former state. And yet I fear time is a luxury we do not have. We must explore other means to enchant the ritual garb. So basically, she's saying that the chess piece is not going to do us good right now. And that's the case with all the other jobs. You don't end up with the chess piece yet for some reason or another, but you end up with all the other artifact pieces. I will consult with my brother to see what knowledge he might have to offer. In the meantime, I would ask that you master your newfound skills as best you can. There's no telling what Great One's fury might grow too strong to contain. We must ever be prepared. So with this AoE, so this is one reason why I'm not a huge fan of White Mage, because with this AoE, it's great for when you're soloing stuff. It gets on everyone's nerves if you're running a dungeon, for instance, because the additional effect is stun. So if you're too quick to start holy spamming, you're stunning enemies before the tank can get them in position. Which I, personally as a healer, I don't like it. I know tanks don't like it. DPS don't like it. Like, nobody wants that during a dungeon. Everybody wants them to be in a proper position and everything for doing those AoEs, which is why I end up preferring Sage, personally. I loved Astro, but they keep reworking Astro at least once per expansion, at least. Like, I literally made a joke the other day when someone was like, oh, I might main Astro next expansion if they make some updates to it. I was like, you mean when they make some updates to it? Because, like, it's not just a matter of, oh, hey, they're coming out with Evolved mode, but for some reason they cannot leave Astro alone. It's like at every expansion thing, it is constantly getting some huge, massive overhaul. So I have to up not playing Astro so much. And then Scholar, I don't know why I can't seem to get into Scholar nearly as much as I used to. I used to love Scholar, but I just find I really like Sage. And one reason I prefer Sage over White Mage is because of this holy ability in dungeons. Because, like, I could go in with a Sage and do my AoEs just fine. And still properly follow along with the tank, make sure I get my dots out to everybody, make sure, and he could still get all of the baddies into position just fine. But when I'm White Mage, I end up holding off on Holy and having to be really weird about my rotation, which I don't like. So that's one of those instances where it's like you have to be careful with some of your abilities, because that extra, like, I'm just going to use it right here on this Condor. It's going to stun them. And because they're stunned, they're stuck in place. And after a while, they do they build up a resistance to it. But it's like, it's fine that they build up a resistance to it. It's totally understandable that they build up a resistance to it, actually. But the fact that they could get stun locked just makes things tricky. Whoops. The other reason people don't tend to care for Holy, like what we saw with my animation, so I'm going to go ahead and do the animation again. It is very bright. And some people don't realize to turn down their effects. So make sure that you go into character configuration and with your control settings under the character tab, the same tab that we were doing the changes to idle animations earlier. If you scroll down a little bit towards the bottom, you can change the show battle effects. and you can lower what battle effects you see. So like for my party, I show limited battle effects. I like to see some personally. That is just because of the fact that I used to run in a Savage Static. So I liked to have some of that visual cue of when people were doing certain attacks and abilities a little bit more strongly, just because I am legally blind. So sometimes just their motions don't quite indicate to me what exact ability that they're doing, because sometimes I miss that. But having at least a limited animation gave me a good indicator as to what ability they were doing. By default, it has everything at show all a lot of the time. And if you have show all, that AoE is going to show up just right for you as it's showing up for me. And I have show all for my own abilities, and it's bright. And if you have several white mages, holy crap, you're asking to be blinded. So shift that down. Like I do show some for party members. I show none for others unless it's PvP, and I show some for PvP opponents. That way I kind of have an idea of what my PvP opponents are doing too. Apparently it cost me 40 gil on top of all those teleport fees to do this, to do my job quest and then come back over here. All right, before the end of stream, I am going to try to knock out this little quest here. That way we can put an end to the sirens and all that stuff, and hopefully have some aspected crystal for Sid. So that way we will be closer to confronting Garuda, because we've been on this Garuda path for quite some time now. Alright. Doa says, yawn. I'm beginning to wonder if some slide bugger ain't spun us a yarn here. Like he's just chilling. He's probably gonna fall asleep. Okay. All right, and I know we're at an ad break. I'm going to go ahead and keep going just because I do think vast majority of you that are watching right now probably were gifted some subs or have subscribed yourself with the Mount event. So I am going to go ahead and keep going because I do have to log here soon, but I want to make sure that we get through this quest. Mimi Doa says, quiet. Did you hear that? Sir! Look! Out of the water. She's come, Nishiet. She's come. And there's a very slutty looking siren. Quick, lass, shove the plugs in your ears and get ready for a fight. As soon as she realizes you're deaf to her ditties, she'll call on her thralls and we'll be up to our necks in corpses before you know it. Okay. I was like, I wait about a campfire. Hither, embrace, mine everything, all. True love spurned, your cruelty's reward. And here's why I want holy. So I could take them all three out at once. Now, as I said, you want to be careful with positioning, because you will stun them. So I wanted to pull them back, or pull those melees back by the black mage, so that way they would follow me to that ranged caster. melody, last breath of death, the rhythm. Dost thou not to relent, regret, forever alone? Did not mean to use lucid dreaming. I meant to go ahead and cast regen on myself. Alright, I'm gonna go over here to this caster. Of course, I'm noticing that a certain Lalafell is not helping me with any of this. No more. Dark. Eclipse. The hearts. Okay, there's that little Lalafell. I was like, I thought he was supposed to be helping me, but, you know. Eh? Am I alright? Ha! I'm better than that, Nishit. Happy as a sailor in a whorehouse. I am. Of course, I'd be happy as a sailor with 2 wazits if we'd gutted the songstress. But you can't have everything, can you? She'll not come curling around here again, though. Not for a while on her road. And if she does, well, we know what to do, don't we? Thanks for the help. Bugger me, I forgot your name. Remind me. Boba? Don't recall having known Nishit by that name. But if you're not me old mate, was name, why have you been so bloody helpful? Ah, never mind. Be seeing you, lassie. I mean, I'm just a dude, or I'm the chick that wanted to come over here. And, like you were just like, you hired me instead of sellswords. Basically. It took like next to no convincing. Never asked for my name. Alright, David. Hi, David! Alright, so on-screen David says, you meant it was a siren, but how are you able to resist her song? I see. I had heard that Master Mimidoa involved in the... It is David's session. I was involved in the first purge, but I never actually... Having survived an ordeal like that, I can't blame him for carrying earplugs around with him. Anyway, I have something for you. The corrupted crystal you wanted, safely sealed in the pot. Just as you requested. Please take it with my compliments. Alright. Now I need to go back over here and talk to Sienna. Alright, let's go back to Aleport so we can talk to Sienna here. Sienna. We're coming to talk to you because you were too scared to stay on that isle. Oh, it's you. Welcome back, Bubba. You're looking remarkably hale, I must say. And more importantly, alive. You are alive, aren't you? I feel like that's fair, especially since we knew that there was some Walking Dead happening. So, it's totally fair to be like, you are alive, right? Aha, the cock-curing hero returns bearing a gift. Might I have a closer look? Impressive. Very impressive indeed. It is going great. As soon as this quest is done, I do have to end up signing off because I've I've got a whole bunch of errands that I need to run. And I do believe my daughter is awake from her nap. And I said I'd go run these errands when she woke up from her nap. Impressive, very impressive indeed. Yes, I think you'll be quite pleased with this specimen. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday as well. Yes, unfortunately you missed vast majority of the stream. That is what sucks about the weekend streams, is that it is so easy to miss them because like there's just so much that's going on the weekends. Like that's when people have time to take care of errands and all that stuff. And I am one of those people. I have to, like, I have to go get groceries. I have to have groceries. And being in a small area that only has a regular Walmart and not a super Walmart and stuff, I have to travel quite a good distance to get groceries. So it's like it's no small thing to be like, okay, I'm just gonna pop over to a grocery store, pick up a few things. Nah, it's got to be a whole thing. Got to be a whole thing because it's over a hour round trip just to go to the grocery store. So that's why it usually waits for the weekend. I don't think I could get Amazon groceries in my area. I think I could get same day delivery on like certain Amazon things, but it's very, very, very limited on what I could get same day delivery on. But I don't think I could get most grocery places. I don't think deliver to my area right now. All right, Sienna says, congratulations, Boba. Seldom have I ever encountered a corrupted crystal composed of such volatile overabundance of fire-aspected aether. What? You want a crystal? Oh my gosh. Okay, so to recap, we went and got a wind-aspected aether crystal. And we're told, well, that's not going to help us against Garuda's wind barrier because it's just going to make it stronger. So now we came to this chick, and she's given us, and she sent us on this whole fool's errand to get fire-aspected aether. And now what we wanted was a corrupted crystal composed of ice-aspected aether to counteract the effects of raging wind. So, yeah. Well, this specimen will help you there. Anyone who knows anything about the elements could tell you that. You'll just have to keep looking, I suppose. Well, fuck you, bitch. Okay. Well, this ended up being a stream of running around here, there, and everywhere because people could point us in the right direction for things. So with that, as I said, I do have to conclude stream because my daughter is awake and I do have to go pick up groceries and everything like that. So for this upcoming week, as I mentioned in the Discord server, which by the way, if you are not a part of the Discord server, if you type !Discord, stream elements should being the important word here, should give you a link to our Discord server. If it does not, yes, typically it cooperates with Twitch. For some reason, Stream Elements has not been cooperating with YouTube. I would hope that would cooperate with Kick, but Stream Elements admittedly says that their stuff doesn't always work properly with Kick. But should for sure work on Twitch. But if you're on Kick or YouTube and you type !Discord and it does not properly populate for you, I will get a link for you and I will post it into the chat. That way you can just click on the link or you can more easily copy and paste from your chat instead of having to manually type it in from the on-screen chat like what you see with the link right now. Which, by the way, thank you, David, for going ahead and typing the !Discord. So as I said in the Discord server, this upcoming Wednesday, so Wednesdays I typically do stream. This upcoming Wednesday I will not be streaming. And the reason that is because my husband is on vacation this week for his birthday. And, on Wednesday we do have plans to spend time with his family for his birthday. So I will not be streaming on this upcoming Wednesday for sure. I am not quite sure if I will be streaming Friday or Sunday at this time. I will keep you all updated, and I will post those updates to the Discord server to let you all know whether those streams are happening or not. In the meantime as well, I will be continuing to troubleshoot with StreamerBot. Like I said at the beginning of stream, as well as in the Discord server, I tried to update StreamerBot to its latest version earlier today. They did release an update relatively recently. However, I learned that the current version of StreamerBot does not quite work properly with Nobara. Me and like one other person learned this around the same time. So I had to emergency switch it back to the version I was running it on shortly before stream. So if I don't think we ran into any issues with redemptions or anything like that, because we did have the hydrate check, which I did do. I didn't say it out loud, but I did do the hydration check. But David did redeem the hydration check without any issues, which that does get ran through StreamerBot. So it does seem like StreamerBot is working properly. So any issues that I'm having hopefully are not actually related to StreamerBot, but I will be double checking things just to be 100% sure that StreamerBot is properly functioning, and as well as any other redemptions, making sure those are also working properly. But no stream on Wednesday for sure, because I will be spending time with my husband and his family for his birthday. With that, some other things that are happening in the Discord servers. We do have quite a few people in the Discord server that are more than happy to help share tips and advice and generally talk about video games in general. Most of the talk is Final Fantasy XIV, since that is what the stream is pretty much centered around. Thanks, David. And I will say, just as I always say, I am not an expert on absolutely everything there is to know on Final Fantasy XIV, nor will I ever claim to be the expert on absolutely everything. As a prime example, I've made absolutely no progress on this expansion's relic weapon, so I don't know shit when it comes to this expansion's relic. Like, I mean, great, I say I don't know shit. I know, like, a very few, very vague points about this expansion's relic. But I am nowhere near the expert that some of the others in the Discord server are. So I highly recommend joining the Discord server, so that way, if you have any questions, need advice, or want to share advice of your own and want to share your own wealth of wisdom, you are more than welcome to hop in the Discord server and share all of that. There are also alerts for any time that I go live, and as well as post to my socials. One of these days, I know I keep promising that I will, but one of these days I really will get my crap together and I will be posting videos again. I just still have not got my crap together. But with that, I want to wish you all a very happy Sunday. Thank you all for tuning in with me today. I've had an absolute blast hanging out with all of you today. But as I said, I do have to take off so that way I could go pick up these groceries. So that way I have things to eat. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.